Welcome back, everybody. Now, Tapelo is a rising star in the RNB world, known for his powerful voice and heartfelt lyrics. As a qualified occupational therapist, he believes that music heals. Tapelo teams up with Gino Lee in creating music that's not only catchy and soulful, but it also speaks to a community that is often marginalized in the music industry. The message is of their music resonating with audiences all over, proving that heartbreak may be universal, but so is the power of music to heal. Tapelo joins us now in studio, and Gino Lee joins us virtually to talk about their music journey. Gentlemen, a very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having us,
It's an absolute pleasure. Tapelo, I'm going to start with you. Just what inspired you to become a singer?
So I grew up in a musical family, so I do have a musical background. And I was one of those kids, the youngest, in as much as I have a bass now with my Adam's apple protruding. I started from soprano and all the way to baritone now.
Yeah.
So I've basically been singing my whole life, and it's one thing that our family usually unites over. So every time we gather together, we sing those nice jam sessions during Christmas holidays and all of that. So growing up in that kind of environment kind of propelled me into pursuing music, because it was the one thing that made me happy whenever anything was going wrong. Even with the passing of my father, that's the one thing that actually kept me strong and helped me heal through the process.
Yeah. And how much did it influence were your family in terms of convincing you to go professional in your career?
Well, my family, I wouldn't say they were 100% behind it, but they're getting used to the idea now, because one thing that is a misconception, especially in the music industry, is that you cannot really make a living out of it.
Yeah.
So when you say you want to be a musician, or when I told my mother rather that I wanted to study music, it was a big issue. So she told me, no, you're not. No child of mine is going to be a musician, all of that.
Yeah.
But understanding also the background that she comes from and all of that. Every parent wants their child to have some form of steady income and a full-time job and all of that. So,
and I suppose you made them happy because you became a qualified occupational therapist.
Yes, it happened.
And I suppose that's the issue, because most parents want music or the arts to be a hobby.
Yes.
Yet that can be a source of livelihood.
Yes.
Yeah.
So with me, it was a matter of, I'm an occupational therapist, and lucky enough, my job enough is flexible to accommodate for both.
Okay.
So I can also use music in therapy to try contribute to the community and to the betterment of people's mental health, to be specific. So now that I've kind of showed them how I can actually marry the two, they are fully supporting me, and they are behind me in each and every step.
Right. Good stuff. Now, Gino, let me also bring you into this conversation. How did the music bug bite you, and how did you get into producing, really?
So I've been a musician for about over 10 years now. I started in high school. I'm from GQ, I'm from Quebec, and I've been performing my whole life, basically.
Okay.
Started with piano. I then went on to singing, sang all over in my hometown. So was fortunate enough to travel, study overseas, perform and act overseas as well, through amazing people that I've met throughout my career. I mean, one to mention is definitely LCB Lawrence. She is my agent. She belongs to 33andMe agency, and that's actually how Tapelo and I know each other as well.
Okay.
So all relationships and contacts, I've built up my portfolio, and my journey has kind of progressed through that. And I would say just before COVID, I opened my own recording studio in my hometown.
Right.
So that's kind of where I focus most of my efforts now, kind of honing and fostering awesome talent, and just kind of getting what's out there in South Africa, all these polished gems that are there, unpolished and polished gems, out into the mainstream, which is basically what Tapelo and I are talking about today, this awesome track.
Yeah, just take us through that. I mean, let's talk about the creative process of you working with Tapelo on Heartbreak Avenue. Is it Heartbreak Avenue? Yes, that's correct.
So the song is called Caught Up, and it's an interesting journey. The song is actually 2 years old at the moment, which is quite amazing, because we've been back and forth. We've been wanting to release it. I think Tapelo is really an advocate for authenticity, and he said that he feels that he will release it when it's time, and I think now is the perfect time for it. Look, we started to write over Zoom calls, and we wrote the song together. We wanted to have an R&B influence. Both of us listened to R&B growing up. So I think it was really easy for the two of us to tap into that. And I think Tapelo also wanted to tell his story about a relationship that he had been in. So we really wrote from the heart. We wrote from his perspective. And I think we came up with something really cool and something really authentic and special.
Okay. Now, Tapelo, tell us your story about, the story behind Heartbreak Avenue.
Okay, so
was it a personal experience, or is it just generic lyrics?
Yes, it is personal experience. So I believe I believe music is a form of expression of emotion as well.
Yeah.
So when myself, with the guidance of Gino, wrote Caught Up, it was basically based on my personal experience in a relationship that I was in. When you're actually in a relationship that you feel is so toxic, it is not going anywhere, you're putting so much into this person, but they're not putting anything into you. So I was in that space when I wrote the song, but it was so difficult for me to just, let go and say goodbye. So I think we get that from the lyrics, where they actually tell that I'm actually no longer in love with this person. I'm having sleepless nights because of this person. But because I have the strong belief that this person might be my soulmate, it's so difficult to let go. So that was my experience. And the music video also portrays it's sort of like a visual 3 minutes of everything that went down in that relationship. And I chose to make it authentically me by showing that I do identify with the LGBTQI community, and make sure that my video also aligns with that, because it is my personal experience. So when making music, or maybe creating visuals for music, for me, it was a matter of I want the world to actually see my story. And also in them seeing my story, also know that in as much as people that are of the community are sort of seen as aliens or foreign people in some parts of the world, we actually go through the same experiences, because the song is a song that anyone can relate to. But the visuals specify, they detail that even as people of this community, we go through the same experience as anyone else who's out there. We all fall in love.
Yeah, we're out of time, unfortunately. But what kind of advice would you have for artists and aspiring artists to want to venture into the music industry, especially in terms of expressing their emotions, expressing their feelings, and marginalized communities like the LGBTI community who are holding back on expressing their feelings through their craft?
Yeah. So what I can say is just be yourself. Literally, that's all I can say, because the world will always have something to say. And even though the minority is louder, meaning the haters might be louder in your process of trying to get it out there, do know that there are some people that are out there that will be inspired and align with your music and will actually understand what you're trying to bring out there. So it's just be yourself. Take your time, and just don't be afraid of whatever you're going to receive from the world, because it's your personal experience you're getting out there.
All right. Tapelo and Gino Lee, lovely chatting to you, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Great stuff.
Thank you.
All right, that was Tapelo and Gino Lee talking to us about how they teamed up and created this beautiful music. Make sure that you tune into Morning Live to bask in the glory of the majesty of their music.